Now, while I have your attention as you are my captive audience at the moment, I want to tell you about a new series debuting on our InvestTalk YouTube channel, InvestTalk Innovators. Justin and I will be bringing you insightful interviews with company leaders, with founders, and with visionaries. For our first episode, I spoke with Haran Bhakta, the mind behind Inside Ownership. He highlights how his philosophy of investing in founder-led businesses can offer a real advantage and passes on some, I would say, pretty good practical tips that you do not want to miss. To watch our full interview, visit our InvestTalk YouTube channel today and stay tuned for more conversations with more InvestTalk innovators. Alrighty, time to talk about the topic at hand, wages. And that's because wages are falling behind inflation, leaving many workers struggling. Average pay has risen about 1.2 percentage points less than the cost of living over the past 4 years. And understandably, I know you all feel that as well. Public sentiment's pretty weak. 55% of Americans say the economy is bad. 75% say their income just has not kept up with the pace of inflation. And this affects different types of jobs differently. Educators are hit the hardest. Teachers face the biggest wage to inflation gap, continuing their long-standing pay disadvantages. Now, wage growth is not because of the kindness of your boss's heart. It's because it's dependent on labor market power. If you have more job openings, wages are pushing up. Why? Because there is more demand for workers, labor is a market, and less supply, human beings doing the job. And so if workers, or rather employers, are competing for these scarce employees, well, wages are going to increase. And this hasn't really been the case, right? Fewer openings suppress wages. And this persistent gap translates into lost purchasing power. It limits retirement savings, limits home buying, emergency funds, investing. It affects a lot more than just the individual. It affects the economy more broadly. Now, some jobs have been outpacing inflation. Leisure and hospitality, healthcare. 88% of recent private sector job growth being from healthcare and leisure and hospitality. And so that's benefited from a big post-pandemic demand. I don't have to tell anybody, during the pandemic, people weren't really going places. They weren't experiencing and utilizing hospitality, leisure. And so with that demand, more jobs, competing employers, higher wages. Another thing I don't have to tell you is that wage satisfaction is at record lows. Only 54% of workers are satisfied with their pay, which honestly probably sounds high to me. And that's the lowest level since 2014. And this doesn't just affect people on the lower end of the income spectrum. Even high-income households are facing pressures. You see that with rising credit card delinquencies. You see that with rising auto loan delinquencies. Quality jobs are scarcer. Only 7% of new jobs pay average wages in 2025. Only 7%. Not even double digits. What was that number pre-2020? 38%. That is a massive gap. White-collar fields like finance and business services, they're stuck. They're in a frozen job market. Employed workers can't really move up. The unemployed are struggling to find openings. New graduates are having issues. New MBAs are having issues. And so when you hear, okay, the economy is doing well, this is how I like to explain it. And I explained this to somebody the other day. I think I explained it to a client the other day, actually. When people say the economy is doing well, that just means that money is moving around. It doesn't mean that money is moving to you. But the problem is when the economy becomes stretched, when it becomes asymmetric, it has effects broadly. Because as consumers that spend don't see their purchasing power maintained, businesses suffer, stocks suffer, and so this is a ever-evolving problem. I know I've said it twice and I'll say it again. I don't have to tell you that wages have not kept up with pace of inflation. And with what we're seeing in the labor market, with what we're seeing with fewer job openings, fewer employers being in demand of labor, in the short term, not seeing much of anything that would correct this trend.